Howdy, folks. Has the lockdown taken its toll on your mental health? Have you, in this while, looked back upon your life and regretted every single decision you have made? Did you cry your eyes out over your past mistake? If you have done all this, worry not. Every great human being goes through a similar crisis. Apparently, Shakespeare did too, and even wrote about it. And if you haven't done it, well, you're just a miracle of nature. Hello and welcome. I am Banguli and I'm taking over G3's channel. Today we will be talking about Shakespeare's Sonnet 30. Here is the poem for you. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old ooze new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye unused to flow for precious friend hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled ooh, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from ooh to ooh tell over the sad account of fore-bemoaned moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end.
A basic summarized understanding of this poem in millennial language would be that the poet is deeply depressed as he remembers his past sorrows and regrets, and the only antidote to the sorrow is the memory he has of his friend. No doubt, the friend mentioned here is Shakespeare's beloved W.H., to whom half of his sonnets are dedicated to. According to Shakespearean critics, the sonnet was written somewhere between 1595 and 1609. That's a really long time ago. On a simple reading, one finds that the sonnet is thematically divided into two parts. Number 1, the pain of memory, and number 2, the power of love. Let's talk about pain of memory, which runs through all three quatrains. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old ooze new wail my dear time's waste. In these lines, the poet is recalling his past memories in silence. He grieves about all the things he wanted but never could achieve. He also remembers the times he has wasted in his bygone years and adds fresh tears to his old griefs. Then can I drown an eye unused to flow for precious friend hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled ooh, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Now, this quatrain is a bit tricky. Consider the first line of this quatrain, which summarizes as, when the poet remembers his past grief, he cries his eyes out, which are otherwise dry. This line can arguably hint at a possible misogyny when it points out the masculine stereotype that doesn't accept crying to be a manly emotion. So despite his masculinity that makes tears unknown to his eyes, there are moments when the poet still cries over the loss of his friend, the hurt of rejected and broken love affairs, and the beautiful sights that he will be unable to see in times to come. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from ooh to ooh tell over the sad account of fore-bemoaned moan, which I knew pay as if not paid before. In these lines, the poet moves over from friends and long-gone ex-lover to crying for things he has already cried over in the past, almost like freshly watering a dead plant. He relieves all his pains as if he is paying a new tribute to them with his tears. Now comes the end couplet of the sonnet, which mentions the second theme, which is the power of love. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored and sorrows end. Through these lines, the poet tries to convey the fact that in the middle of his sad thoughts, if, for once, he recalls a memory of his friend, all the feelings of grief and sorrows vanishes, and his happiness is restored to the fullest. Now, if you try to find a contemporary reference to this last couplet, a very nice example would be Harry Potter and the Patronus Charm. If you remember, the Patronus Charm needed a very strong, happy, and powerful memory to defeat the Dementors, who were actually personification of despair and misery. Shakespeare in these lines tried to invoke the power of similar happy memories. A happy memory, according to him, is enough to recreate and feel the presence of love that was once alive. And perhaps that is why a memory of his friend helps him to get over his sadness and brings back the lost happiness.
And that's the end of the summary. I hope you find something useful from it. This is my first voicing in a video, and a hearty thanks to G3 for wanting to do this collab with me. I enjoyed every step of the making process. If you like the video, please give it a big fat thumbs up and don't forget to share and subscribe.